And Marlene, and good morning, Nancy. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good evening to all the people watching on the live stream, and most especially watching on the replay. We're live with the two lovely, two lovely culinary people, couple, and we'll be talking to the coffee, Caesar. Ano ba ang tawag sa'yo? The one of the
Wow.
coffee,
Guru,
uh,
whatever. Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
ano ba? Ano ba tawag sa'yo? Parang the coffee guy,
Coffee guy.
Manny Torrejon, also known for his Spanish specialties branded under
Oh, yeah.
Manolos. And of course, Marlene Monfort cakes that has been crazed no around during the pandemic, and they'll be telling their story on how it came to be. And of course, this is not only a culinary DNA story, Nancy, pero it's a
Yeah.
culinary love story. So you wanted to know what happened, how did it came about, both from Bacolod. So we're talking about to all the people watching from Bacolod. Check this out. So like and subscribe our awesome planet. Please share this with people that you know in the industry. Of course, Marlene and Manny knows most of the Filipino culinary industry know them. So check it out. My name is Antones, founder of our awesome planet. We're awesome live with Manny Torrejon and Marlene Monfort. Can you do a short introduction? All right. I'm so actually excited for this episode kasi hindi ko rin alam yung story nila. Alam ko lang bits and pieces. So, thank you. Good evening, Manny and Marlene. So,
We're excited
Nancy,
to be here.
yes. So, siguro, let's start it off with a short introduction. How did you, what's your culinary DNA? How it came about? Ano ba yung mga passions nyo at the start, no? And then we'll take it from there. But before that, good morning, Nancy. Thank you.
Hi.
Live streaming from Houston to do this live stream. All right.
I want the love story.
Oh, yeah. Okay, marami naghihintay niyan. But first, Marlene, how you got started and your story.
Hi, I'm Marlene Monfort. I'm happy to be here, Anton. Thank you for inviting us. Um, I started baking when my mom first bought me my first KitchenAid when I was 7. She was a working woman, so that was my. On weekends, we would bond by baking, and then we would feed it to my dad and to my brother and whoever cousins were around. Um, anyway, so I'd start by brownies and I'd sell it to the neighbors with my little
Uh-uh.
market bag with my yaya, chaperoning me around the street. And when I came home, my dad would say, "Oh, where did you get this money?" I go, "Oh, because I sold my brownies." Then he'll say, "Sana pinamigay mo na lang." So that's where I come in and say I'm my daughter. I'm my mom's daughter because she's so entrepreneurial. I probably got it from her from the start. When I was younger. So anyway, in high school, I baked whatever, and in college, I did the same thing. But I was dancing professionally for the Albiger sisters. I
Oh.
dancers, yeah. So
Hmm.
I was always heavily into dance rehearsals after school. So I didn't really have time to bake. But after college, I saw an ad on the news in the newspaper that said master cake decorating class, and I said I wanted to become a master cake decorator. Parang that was my ambition because when I was little, my mom would hire this caterer, and she'd do all the dishes plus my cake or my brother's cake, my brother's birthday cake. So while I was watching them when I was little, I'd say, kaya, kaya. kaya ko yan, you know. So when I saw that ad, it really sparked me, and I said, I want to learn. I want to really be good at this. So this lady, Mrs. Lorendo from the CCS Bake Shop in Cubao, I think she's still there.
Oh, yeah.
She was so intensive. She would only take five students at a time, and we I forget the whole day, maybe 8 hours a day. For 10 days, we learned how to decorate cakes. I was so happy. So from then on, I would read more books about cake decorating because I really loved. Like when I would read, I'd go like this and try to follow what the book said. You know. So anyway, fast forward in 1983, I moved to the States, um, and that's when I found out that there's more ingredients to work with, to bake with, because my recipes were from my lola, my aunts, my cousins, and all the little recipes I took with me to the States. Now I could use better ingredients with it. And anyway, life went on, and in 2001, I enrolled in dance again and competed for dance sport. So so
Wow, competitive.
in
Professional.
in between my dance, I made money on the side to pay for my training, and so that's when I started baking again. Um, and then, like I said earlier, my dad passed away in 2010, and in 2011 I came back to Bacolod, and since um, I could be my own boss now, that's where I started Marlene Monfort Pastries. The reason why I have my name like that, because when we went for the fictitious names, they were all taken. So my accountant said, Mom, just use your name. So that's how it started. And then I started baking for restaurants, orders from my friends and family, and that's how word came about. Then the pandemic struck, and in February of 2020, we had 4 weddings to attend to here in Manila. So I kind of brought, pans and little stuff just to bake when there's parties here in Manolos. Um, but when the pandemic started, he said, "Why don't you start baking?" That's how it started. We started with a Viber group in the village, and orders started coming in, and by word of mouth, that's how at least my orders came in. I grew, and parang they validated that my pastries were good. So I met Anton, Spanky, Reggie Aspiras, Cyrene De La Rosa,
Sandy
Sandy
was a
Daza.
good friend. So
So we, they started talking about my desserts. Um, that's about it. And
the
here we
rest
are
is history.
today. Yes.
Yeah, oh. Pero
So,
Nancy, her
Mark,
cakes are very popular during the pandemic. So, congratulations.
I
hopefully
heard.
even after, Anton.
Of course. Uh,
Anyway, so anyway, now I take the my side. My story is not as fancy as probably hers. It's quite boring. Actually, I was still in college when I worked for this company, Escaler and Company. Gourmet. So I worked for Ernest, my boss, owned the company, and he had his contract for to export coffee to the U.S. So we were one of the pioneers of exporting coffee, green coffee, unroasted coffee to the US. That's
Mm.
how I stumbled into coffee.
wow.
So
Kailan
after
yan,
that,
Manny? Kailan
years
yan?
went by, sorry,
Anong year yan? Ang tagal eh. So,
uh,
you're one the OG
Coffee
of
Bean
coffee
Co.
talaga.
That was in 19. I started working for them in 1978. that far. Okay.
Galing,
So
ah.
anyway, I was still in college then. So I was studying and working at the same time. I was the kind of guy kasi every summer, when my dad was still a manager of a big company in Bacolod, I'd go back to Bacolod for the summer and work because I don't want to get bored. I'm a kind of person, I have to do something palagi. So I was offered this job with Escaler and Company, and I took it even though I was still in college. So after summer, they told me, why don't you, fix your schedule and still work here? So it was a good decision on my part. So I worked there for a couple of years until we set up our own with my partner, Nikki. And we were the ones who were already exporting to the UK, to France, to Europe, and to the US. Eventually, one thing led to another. Exporting coffee is one business, but roasting coffee then was still very fresh, very young. Wala pa masyado nagro-roast noon. This market was technically barako and instant coffee. Nobody was really, roasting fine coffees. So in 1991, we started to do a roasting business. And eventually, during that time, we were able to get good clients and grow the business, and eventually, really put up a serious roasting factory. After that, in 2011, as my company was already doing so well, I was offered a partnership with Mr. Young, who owns UCC, a coffee shop,
Yeah.
Hubert. So we went into a partnership, and eventually I sold my portion of the company to UCC, but I'm still with them up to now as business director, business development director. So I think my coffee experience and all the years in coffee has given me a lot of information and a lot of knowledge in coffee. So that's why some people say, oh, yung tagal ko na sa kape, ganito. Yeah, that's why he said Mr. Mr. Coffee or something. But it's an interesting business, and nowadays you can see a lot of small roasters, a lot
Yeah.
of young kids getting into coffee. It's so nice to see that young people are so interested in that beverage. It's a beverage that you can really grow with, as I grew with it.
So where did Paella get in?
Okay, the paella story came after I graduated. I graduated, and when I was a small boy, I'd always hang around with my mom in the kitchen. Uh, I was interested in food, but I didn't really do anything about it. Went to college and everything. Then college came. I graduated. My parents gave me a ticket to the States. So mag-relax ka muna doon. So I went to the States with a lot of with my friends, and I had friends in the US already. So I stayed with them for a while, about 2 months. But within that stay, I got so tired of American food, burgers, fries, waffles and everything. So my mom was in New York then, and I called her, Mom, hindi ko na kaya kumain ng American food. Can you teach me how to make adobo? Which is the Ilonggo adobo, by the way, Nancy. So she taught me over the phone. And I tried it out using ingredients from there. And it tasted well, tasted good. And my friends say, oh, kaya mo pala magluto eh. That spurred me to, learn more. And then I started to buy cookbooks. My first cookbook was by Antonio Carlucci. I don't know. You know Nancy? Antonio Carlucci, which was a famous Italian chef. That was my first book. So I started to learn how to cook Italian dishes. So pasta, puttanesca, carbonara, all the pasta dishes, because this was what in the late 80s, 90s. And since I think it's innate in me to be, I mean, my father's Spanish, my grandfather was pure Spanish. So parang siguro nasa DNA ko yung love for Spanish food. But my mom, while I was growing up, was already doing the bacalao, the calyos. You know, my mom's even funny, or she was funny because she made calyos out of pata. She didn't use stripe. And
Uh-huh.
sabi ko, that's not calyos. Calyos is stripe. Ay, bahala ka dyan. Pero ito yung way ko. I don't want to eat. In Negros, a lot of people don't want to eat innards or offals
Mm-hmm.
because we eat only the prime cuts. Diba, Nancy, we were talking about
Yeah.
that. So the best ingredients in Bacolod, we will go to that later, but my mom didn't like tripe. Actually, not a lot of people in Bacolod like tripe. I mean, but anyway, so that's how I got into Spanish cooking. Then paella, then bacalao, then ropa vieja, which is actually Cuban. So I went through the whole range. Then in 2013, uh, first time to go to Spain.
13.
So eye-opener. So parang I felt when I reached Spain, sabi ko, wow, I feel like I belong here. I was with Robbie. I was with Robbie, Goko. We had a full,
Wow.
we had a crawl with sila Mirna Segismundo, Mickey Phoenix, lahat. So it was a big group, Tita Glenda, Barreto. And while we were there, we took up short courses. And really, I really felt like, I belong to that place. So that's where my love for Spanish cooking comes from. And hopefully I can go back soon. We
I
plan
think
to go back.
it's always been in your blood. Two things run in your blood: the paella sauce and coffee.
Well, the paella is actually paella looks very simple from the outside, but it's very complicated when you really get into paella cooking.
But I have
Um,
a question first, technical. When you say green coffee, that's not roasted. Is that technically coffee or beans, pa? It's not
Coffee
yet,
bean.
it's not yet
It's coffee
roasted.
beans. You cannot consume that yet. You have to roast it. You
Yeah,
have to roast it
so,
to bring out to bring out the flavor. It's a Maillard. If you know Maillard
yes,
reaction, the
yes,
browning, parang steak.
yeah.
You have to do that to coffee so that the flavor will come out. That's why coffee and steaks are usually being compared. You usually cook steak medium rare. It's
Yeah.
just like coffee also. You have to roast it lightly, not too high to take out to have the flavors. That's why the present trend now in coffee is light or medium roasting, not anymore the Italian style dark roast.
Because you want to taste the coffee and not
Char.
the char.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
You
that,
want the medium or the light.
Mm-hmm.
so Manny, inabutan mo lahat ng wave, no? The first, second, third wave. Ano
Yung
bang
first
fourth
wave,
wave?
hindi ko inabutan, ha?
Ay, hindi mo ba inabutan?
Second wave na ako, actually.
ano ba yung first wave?
Part of the first wave na abutan ko, but the dulo na. The second wave is actually the Starbucks wave, right?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
When all the coffee shops came out, Starbucks, Pete's Coffee, Phil's Coffee, this is the second wave. Though the
What's
third,
the third?
sorry. And then the third is the specialty. The Stumptown, the Blue
The third is the
Bottle.
special.
Yan ang third wave. Now, they're saying now we're on the fourth wave, but who knows?
So, anong fourth wave ba, Manny?
Well, fourth wave for me is very, cold brew. Fourth wave is very technical, and they have to put a lot of science and in the fourth wave. But actually, for me, fourth wave is actually single origins. Okay, when you talk about fourth wave single origins and traceable coffee, you can find out who grew this coffee, where is it from, what's the elevation like, what's the soil type. That's how very technical you can get, and for me that's a fourth wave. Ang third wave kasi Starbucks pa, pero mas medyo commercial pa. When you go into the fourth wave, it's very very high specialty coffee. I mean, you have the geisha coffees that people buy at $3,000 per kilo.
And like when we went to China.
Yeah, and Yunnan, and the coffees are very very exotic already. It's the exotic angle to the coffee.
It's
But sometimes
starting
I say you buy a good bottle of wine for what? The first growths, the Bordeaux, you buy it for 15,000, 20,000 per bottle. that's only 750 ml. Sometimes a cup of coffee can cost you $50. Pero $50 eh, 2.5 lang yan. You have 1 cup.
Meron dito.
So I think there's still room to grow sa coffee world to reach better heights. Somewhere
Okay.
where it's,
Oh.
di ba? A bottle of wine you can buy it at 15,000. Pero a cup of coffee na talagang super high grade, you can pay $200 lang or even $100.
Manny, where were you getting the coffee beans when you were starting to export? Was that
Locally, we were doing a lot of coffee from southern Luzon, from Cavite, Batangas.
Uh-huh.
Then Mindanao was a good source. But
Pero Liberica yon, Liberica at the time, or
we were exporting mostly Robusta.
Arabica.
No,
Robusta.
Arabica we were using locally already. We never really exported Arabica unless you go back to the 1800s,
Oh. Okay.
which were from Lipa. Ironically, Lipa was growing a lot of Arabica at the turn of the century. But right now we have a lot of good Arabicas already coming out of different farms, because that has also spilled into the growing high quality. So we have a lot of farms in Bukidnon, in Davao, and in Sagada, and in Benguet, which grow very, very good coffee, world standard.
Yeah. Oh, you said, Marlene said that you go a long way, but what about your culinary DNAs? Is there a point, because you're both from Bacolod? Is there something common between the two of you in your palate because of being from Bacolod?
Yeah, well, I guess we right currently now we sell bak choy, which is a very Ilonggo dish, right?
We have a bak choy here.
And we also sell inasal in a stick.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's boneless, and we also have the street style pork barbecue that we made.
That's our recipe
With Java rice.
with Java rice.
With Java rice paella.
Then we came out with KBL. I'm sure you know what KBL is.
Mhm.
And then we have Kansi also, the Ilonggo version of bulalo.
So
which has a-
all these dishes have a character from Bacolod. What is it? I was trying to get the word. Is it sophistication, delicateness, nuttiness? What is it?
it's just, I think, pure love of food, that we want the flavor of well, as you know, we use a lot of but one
Mhm.
and atsuete. Those are two, and tanglad. Well, actually, those three are very inherent in Ilonggo food. But I think the flavor profile is it's not too strong, the
Yeah.
flavor, and it's
Yeah.
not too light. Parang it's talagang nasa gitna lang yung
Very
flavor.
balanced.
Yes,
And
balance.
Spanish and Chinese influence.
Uh-huh.
But in
Yeah,
Spanish, the
so-
spoon, hindi masyado spicy, hindi masyadong strong ang flavors. But we use atsuete, which is apparently really a Spanish-inspired ingredient, because it's achiote in Mexico.
Yeah.
So we use a lot of atsuete to color. Even the fish, if we grill the fish, we binibiyak namin yung fish, then we spread it with atsuete also and butter. So it's actually atsuete is very common in Negros. And then another ingredient that we think is very inherent in Negros also is cadyos. The pigeon.
Kadyos, oh.
Yeah, pigeon
Kadyos.
pea. It's, I don't know if other areas in the Philippines use it as well, but in Negros talagang cadyos.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And
Well,
yeah,
you can see
just yes,
the
go.
culinary, you can see naman the culinary interest in Negros. See how many Ilonggo chefs are there. Diba? I mean, you know most of them.
Oo nga, yeah.
You know Antony Boy, you know Fern Aracama, you
Fern.
know JP Anglo, you know
Yeah.
Tom Bascon, all of those guys. I mean, we grew up together. Lahat yan. I mean, same age kami. And I think that was the glory days of Negros in the 70s, the 60s and the 70s, where we developed our palates when growing up in Negros.
Yeah.
And the
Oo.
Sunday lunches.
And the Sunday lunches, we have the insaladang jackfruit, which is very prevalent there. Then we have the lumpia ubod, which is
Wow.
very silay. Silay influenced a lot of our cuisine as well. Piyaya came from silay. Baye-baye
Mm.
came from Silay. Silay also influenced a lot because there were a lot of prominent families in Silay during the late 1800s.
Doreen Fernandez.
Doreen Fernandez from Silay.
Doreen? From Silay. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Nice. Ganun
Negros,
pa rin ba ngayon? How's it growing up? How's it
melting.
growing up, and is that translated to the next generation ba of Bacolod people?
Well, yeah, the kids in Bacolod are more or less. But those who grew up here na wala na masyado. Like my daughter doesn't even know how to cook. So wala.
Oh, nanonood si Erin nanonood. Go Tita Marlene and
I know she doesn't cook, but she's good in a lot of things. She's good marketer and everything, but she doesn't cook. She's basically like her mom.
Did they grow up drinking coffee already?
Yeah,
Because
Erin did. Erin loves coffee.
Okay.
She likes cold brew.
Uh-huh. Wow. Okay.
Okay. All right. Before we move to the love story, I wanted to understand. We'll show because a lot of people are watching this also on replay, and I wanted to show some of the food, no, or the kind of food that they create. So, we'll show this. Ano to, Marlene? Maybe let's caption this, Marlene. Ano ba to?
I was just trying to focus on me piping the cake with flowers.
So you hand pipe all the cakes now, no? Ikaw ba nag-hand pipe?
No, like that's gum paste. So
Okay. Iba to.
yeah, you roll the dough and then you make them into flowers, one petal at a time. That's more tedious to make. So I have them ready so that I can just put them up, but it takes maybe a week because every layer you have to dry them. Yeah. So I make a ton. Yeah.
Yeah, ang ganda ng mga cakes ni Marlene. This
Those
one.
are all hand piped. Yeah.
Ito yung hand pipe. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Since the pandemic, there's Shopee and Lazada, so I have a ton of cake decorating tips now. So I have new flowers
that you can create.
Was that made of butter? That was a butter?
Some medium I use is butter, some whipped cream, some what else do I use? Cream cheese.
Italian buttercream, di ba?
Yeah.
And I keep on learning through YouTube. I just found the recipe for cream cheese that you cook and the flowers look like that. Hindi siya natutunaw. So there's a binder. So that's my next project. I want to learn how to do those cream cheese flowers.
Every time nga, Marlene, no, parang nag-elevate lagi yung cake.
Always. You never stop learning. Yeah.
Ito.
And last year, I learned how to make flour out of rice paper.
From a Thai
from Bangkok. Online.
Pandemic. Yeah.
And those figures, napilitan lang because people really buy my cakes because of how they taste. And second na lang how it looks.
Yes.
There's this one friend I had in Bacolod. Her apo had was gonna have a first birthday party, and she said she wanted a jungle theme. So I said, I don't really make those figurines because it takes time. And she goes, she just had a blind ear. Goes, I want your cake. So I had to do it. So that's the one.
What's usually your base flavor cake? Chocolate, mocha?
In the States, I got known for my chocolate cake. It's kind of like a version of the Cookie Monster, but I made it my own because the recipe, the Cookie Monster recipe that a friend gave to me, didn't work for me. It sumasabog siya sa oven, as in it burst. So when I went to pastry school, that's when I fixed it, and what I do now is my version, and it's also less sweet.
Yeah.
Wow.
So those are all
You know,
Wow.
she labors the whole day in the kitchen. For
Yeah.
this.
Talaga.
but
Pero ano ang ganda ng cake na ganyan especially for birthdays or
It's
celebrations.
too pretty to eat, as they say.
Yeah.
Even the cupcakes. The cupcakes are really nice, I must say.
Oo, of course. Ang ganda.
it doesn't take long to do it. I just do a lot of it the whole day.
Oo. All right. Ito naman, ano naman to aside from the
Oh,
cake?
that's one
The
one
barbecue,
morning.
street barbecue.
I woke up and I said, you know what? Let's do the street style barbecue, but I want a paella in it. So we decided we were gonna do the Java rice paella.
No, but actually the inspiration from this paellas came from the Negros Trade Fair
Yes.
show. In the Negros Trade Fair show, di ba usually there's a cocktail that opens it, sila Tony Boy Cook, si Fern, ako,
It's called the Arima.
the Arima. And that Arima, Joey Gaston, who's one of the founders of the Arima, told me, why don't you do your paellas pero Negros inspired? So we did
We did
KBL,
KBL and
Kansik paella,
chicken inasal
chicken and
paella.
asal paella, which people love. And then
The chorizo from Manaloto,
Manoloto.
because that's the well-known chorizo in
Bacolod.
Bacolod. So we use that.
Yeah.
We use the grains from Fresh Start,
from
Chin
Chin Oy,
Oy.
from Chin Oy, the organic rice
organic
Oo.
rice.
from Negros. So everything was basically from Negros.
And then we did a fidwa.
And then Fidiwa. But yun, so we said it works. I mean, we can do paella na inspired by Filipino food.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
actually, Nancy, you remember Ed Kimson?
Yeah. He did.
Yes.
The tinola. What was that paella? Tinola paella?
Yeah. Me,
Yeah.
I do now adobo de paella on the grill. Smoke.
Yeah, on the grill.
Yeah.
Well, the best way
Actually,
to cook a
that's-
paella is by using wood,
and charcoal.
charcoal, because the heat is even on the paella pan, not like a stove or even a paella burner. But the best way, I do it here in Manolos once in a while, if people ask for it, and then the smokiness comes into the paella, which is fantastic.
Yeah, we did it at the beach.
Yeah, last time we did it at the beach,
New
That's
Year's.
nice.
using very fresh seafood. Oh my God, very good.
Whew. Okay. So
And so after that, we did the chicken in asal, and in the States when I sold it, it was in skewers. So I did the same thing because it's easier to eat when you don't have to debone the chicken. And then we have a chicken. We have a chicken-based paella for the chicken in asal. And the one you just saw, that's our catering tray. We have a minimum of 20 to order that, and then we
Pang
send-
Zoom session.
Yes, for Zoom
Or some parties or party packs, as they call it. We do that. So there's bacalao there. There's some favada.
The Spanish embassy. Who
Yeah.
ordered that?
Yeah, the guy from the Spanish embassy.
Yes.
Nice.
Anyway.
and then I saw a black paella. Oh,
Yeah. That's the negra, which is either you love it or you hate it. It's kasi yung iba ayaw ng black ink ayaw nila ng squid ink, but some
sarap.
people really love it. It's something like the durian. It's either you love it or you hate it.
I love it.
Hindi
I
siya
love
wala.
it.
But if you love it, it's like drama in
It's
your
just
mouth.
Marisco. That's Marisco.
This is Marisco.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I think
So-
dito ka ng cake.
So Marlene, when will you make your wedding cake?
That will be one for the book. The bride makes her wedding cake.
I'm supposed to.
I'd rather have a cake and she comes out of it.
Paano ba nagsimula yan? Paano ba
Oh,
nagsimula?
Ding.
Siya na magkwento para sabihin nyo naman, baka nangbobola ako eh. Si Marlene na.
we met at parties when we were 15.
Actually, niligawan ko yan nung 15 ako. Hindi ako, palagi pag tumatawag ako sa bahay niya, ay, sir, naliligo. Ay, sir, kumakain. Ay, sir,
Or
natutulog
in
na.
rehearsals.
Natutulog na. Wala, hindi rehearsal eh. Kung sabi ko, ayaw ata nito, babae nito sa akin. Sa iba na nga ako pumunta. So, it never happened.
No, but really, I was busy with dance, and I had no boyfriends
Allowed.
during high school days, since we from school to rehearsals
Stick to parents niya.
and I had So anyway, but our lives were always
Intertwined.
Intertwined.
She's very close to her family, and
I
actually,
was close to
her Sanscribal,
yeah.
nang turo sa kanya ng Sanscribal niya si mami ko. Because my mom was a home baker. She did a lot of cakes. Even her ensaymada is very good. If you know Elsie's bread, Nancy, that's my mom's.
Yeah.
We still do the bread, Elsie's bread. That was my mom's recipe, original. And we sell it in supermarkets. It's called Elsie's bread. And a lot of people like it. So it's not a secret that my mom was really the home baker and the cook. So that's where probably I got my inspiration. But it's funny to know that I'm the only one who cooks in the family now. All my sisters, I have 3 sisters, all of them don't cook. Isn't that weird?
I also want to know the Ilonggo adobo that your mom taught you later na.
It's a braising and frying.
Huh?
Braising and frying technique.
Okay.
Parang double cook yan eh.
Yeah. Okay. Love story.
Love story. Oh.
So anyway,
we
so
met our lives.
Our lives were always intertwined, and we met in since I moved to the States, we would meet there. We met there in the wedding.
Yeah.
Because I made the wedding cake for the nephew. And but the mom, when she visits, I would drive for her. She'd stay with me or
my mom was
stay
close
with
to her.
her older brother, who's a best friend of mine, and his wife. So we would always see each other, and then sometimes she'd say, Marlene, come on, let's bake something, or and then so I'd feed off her whatever she teaches me. She used to teach me. And then fast forward, of course, I was married, that got divorced, and then
I even had them as guests.
Yeah, with
iba pang boyfriend niya guests sa Manolos, sa old Manolos. They eat there.
From the States, because every year I'd come, and then he had just opened Manolos, and we came
But I had
to
a
visit.
girlfriend.
But he also had a girlfriend, so we were always we had our own lives, but we would always.
Fast forward 2017.
Fast forward 2017. I was single for 5 years na, and then
widowed. But I had a girlfriend, but I broke off na.
Yeah, so we found ourselves single again.
No, it's my family naman who tells me, uy, date mo na si Marlene. Wala ka namang girlfriend. Date mo na yan. At tapos ang kapatid ko naman, who's this very good friend, si Elise, tells her, oh, labas mo na si Manny, subukan nyo naman. So eventually it happened.
When you're older, you have to have a checklist. So for me, it was same town, same language, dialect. We both speak in English. We like the same things. Yung 2 criterias of what I don't like in a guy is tamad and bobo. So he's so smart naman, and he's so industrious.
Thank
check.
you.
So anyway,
you were in Japan, I was in the
yes,
States.
yeah, and then we
We
started.
communicate Facebook muna. Text, Facebook, message.
And then one day he asked me out. I didn't answer him. And then he went another route. He said, hey, there's a butcher shop with grass.
Naghahanap siya ng
grass
steaks. Sabi ko,
grass.
I know this supplier, really good. Actually, baka kilala nyo rin, Anton, si SNL. Si Sinan. I brought her to Sinan's butchery.
Yeah, so that was our first date.
Hindi naman official date.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's how we
That's how we
started going out. Yeah.
I think the best kind
I went to Bacolod, and she said, since we don't have a house there anymore,
I
because
have
my
3
parents,
guest rooms, and you're welcome to come when you come.
and sabi niya, why don't you stay in the house? Sabi ko, well, it's a bit awkward, but sige, I'll stay in your
Yeah.
house for a while. So it was a weekend. Then we had a good time. We went around. Then that's how it blossomed. Then she came here. Then yun na.
What do you mean by yun na?
Kami na. Yeah.
I mean, we're older, so
Yeah.
we're like it's us or not, you know. So
Yes,
we
yes.
we started dating exclusively like that. So,
The best really relationship comes from friendship.
Yeah.
Always starts there.
we like the same things. We like to travel. We like the same.
Well,
foods.
ito, one thing that I wasn't really very active in was watching movies. And she loves movies. So now, napaano na rin ako. I mean, movies on Netflix and everything. Dati, hindi ako masyado. I'd rather watch documentaries. I'm a historical guy. I like history. I like documentaries. Pero siya, masyado yung mga love films.
So
Ang galing ah.
are you
Malapit
going
po.
to go into continue the business together, or are you first going to travel and
Well,
take it
Travel
easy?
is really
Travel is in our list, but I'm still working kasi I am still full-time working for a company. So we'll see. We don't really know where it will bring us. If I do retire in Bacolod, or we said, sige, let's put up a cafe in Silay.
Wow.
In an old house, then let's turn it into a bakery cafe with some food, because in Bacolod kasi you have to survive. It's the market is very tricky. Restaurants there that are very high end don't work out that easily, and you have to be price sensitive. So, but ako kasi I love Silay. It's an old town. I like the vibe. I like the feel. Actually, a lot of other chefs have already considered setting up there. Aside from me, I mean, marami na
Oh, ang ganda. Pero nakakakilig yung story niyo. Parang friend zone for how many years? 40 years ba?
as in
Friend
we
zone.
if I was visiting like a Negros fair or something,
Yeah,
nandun siya sa dulo, nandito ako there's people in between us. We were never like you, like that. We never.
but it
Yeah.
blossomed. So I guess it's meant to be.
And it's
It
easy
is.
when you have the same likes and you grew up together. Because when you're older, it's really hard to date on the internet or to find somebody who will match you because they came from a different background or they came from
Yeah,
whatever.
but nag-aaway lang kami sometimes sa food.
Yeah, because I have my own version of the paella.
Meron din siya.
And the way I cook it. So we argue, and the tortilla, the egg, the
Tortilla Español.
Espanol. Yes, I
Ah.
the way of cooking it, and he also has.
Even in Bacalao, meron siyang recipe.
So you also differ in the rice you use for paella?
Sorry?
The
What
rice.
rice?
Right.
Short grain. Japanese.
Japanese.
Bomba and Kalaspara are too expensive. Actually, if somebody wants to order bomba, pwede naman bomba rice. But you gotta pay for it. It's 1,000 per kilo. So,
Yeah.
sobrang
Wow.
mahal.
I'm lucky. My cousin sends me from Spain.
Yeah.
If you could only import directly from Spain, yun.
LBC from Spain.
But it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it's how the bomba lang naman and Kalaspara are very good because it absorbs the stock very
On
well.
the sauce.
Absorption. And Japanese rice is not bad. I mean,
And also arborio.
arborio also, but arborio kasi is very starchy lang. I think you have to
Wash.
wash. You have to wash well. Take out
But
the
you know,
starch.
Marlene, I have to tell you something. Si Manny looks so much settled. Looks very settled.
Very domesticated. is the
On
term.
meron pa siyang may init na, parang bagong, para
Oh,
siyang
but actually,
bagong
that's
rose.
right. I was more zesty before.
Yes.
No,
Now,
and I
think
stopped drinking, by the way. I haven't been drinking.
Okay.
Talaga? Kahit wine? Kahit wine? Yeah.
Yeah.
Red wine?
Parang nawala yung taste buds ko for. No, I still look for it once in a while, but I don't anymore that much. You should have met me 10 years ago, and diba? Natawa si Nancy. Good boy na ako, good boy na ako.
No.
Pero ang sarap. Ang sarap siguro ng no, kung may bakery kayo, Manny and Marlene ang pangalan.
Yeah, and
best coffee,
Pero ang
best
problema ko
cake,
kasi,
best
I
cat food.
I like to bake. I like cooking talaga. Baking is not in my DNA. I mean, making breads or ganon. Sa kanya yan. But she also is not open to doing breads because for her, it takes up a lot of time. Especially, let's say, mga sourdough, mga fermentation and everything. It's a lot of time. And the margins are very small.
Not only that, the timing when the dough is ready, you gotta attend to it. And if I'm doing an icing that I can't stop, I'll stress out. So he finally saw that I can't do.
But
both.
she makes fantastic sandwiches. You should try her sandwiches once. So that's why perfect nga if we have a cafe. Sandwiches are very good. And we don't have to make the bread because there are 1,001 home bakers now. Remember, there are a lot of home bakers. Si Paulo Vasquez, I don't know if you know him. It's very good bread. Si RJ, what's his name? Also good bread. That micro bakery is also very good.
And
the
Elsie's bread.
Well, and my family's bread. So we don't have to make bread.
Yun pa.
My mom's bread.
Actually, I can just talk to the baker in their bakery, and they allow me to give them a recipe that
she does stuffed croissants.
Yeah, I do the swirls.
The swirls.
But the baker there helps me out.
So actually, all the ingredients are there na but the only thing to do is probably start something.
Di ba? It would be nice in sila.
What's your loving nickname for Manny? Is it Hi Cupcake? How are you today, Cupcake?
Everybody knows what it is.
What is it?
Lovey.
Wow. Ang ano naman?
Lovey.
No mushy. I don't care.
Lovey with a double T. Lovee.
Lalo nang naging ano. Sana.
Everybody calls him Lovey na rin.
What does he call you? He calls you Lovey also?
Babes.
What? Babes. Medyo a cool dude yon, babes. Hey, babe. Yeah.
Alam mo naman,
So how many years have you been together?
2017.
4.
na.
About 4 years.
Yeah. Okay. Love in the time of COVID.
2 years na sa dito, di ba? Lockdown was March.
Yeah.
That was right after Erin's wedding. Erin's wedding was in February, the end of February, my daughter.
Talaga?
So it was she got married and na-lockdown na kaagad. Buti nga umabot siya.
On the day of the lockdown, that was when I was supposed to fly to Manila, but the airline canceled my ticket. So since that day, I'm still here.
Maybe.
Yeah, sorry, Anton.
Go. May tanong ako about the pandemic kasi their business has been really good during the pandemic, so I wanted them to share their experience. But you have a question, Nance?
No, yun na rin. How are you surviving the pandemic?
With the pandemic, it's up and down naman eh. It's quite erratic sometimes. Sometimes all the orders come in sunod-sunod. Minsan naman, there are weeks na napakahina. So, it depends. I'm sure this holiday season will be again.
Wow.
But we're planning, let's take a vacation during holiday season. Kasi wala pa kaming bakasyon.
Yeah.
Sa January na, mag-cruise na lang kayo.
Well, hopefully by that time, I haven't been going out and seeing even my family. My daughter, I haven't seen in a while. Even my sisters, I haven't seen them for a while. So, and my brother's coming home end of the month. So hopefully by December siguro we can see each other.
Yeah. But any tips for people watching also in this? Kasi I know you guys are humble na, but your food is really good talaga during the pandemic, no? It matches well also. Any tips? Ano ba nakita nyo during the pandemic that the Manila people like?
Well, okay, if you want to return business talaga, you gotta do local flavors. Or if you want, you have to stick to a particular dish and cuisine talaga.
And start small. Just one or two dishes. Don't go.
That's right.
Even when I started my cakes, it was just a plain chocolate cake and a plain carrot cake. There were no designs, just that. And people
naalala
would
ko nga.
buy 6 at a time, 60 at a time, like that. Grabe. And nothing on the cake. And later on, I had a help that left me. But when he was helping me, I stuck to the plain cakes. And when he left, that's when I started decorating. Kasi ako na eh. So I did everything from even washing everything. But now I have another assistant again. So she helps me with the baking, but I decorate.
And also tips for the pandemic, talagang kailangan you have to be super good pricing.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way that you'll be able to sell. Wag masyadong mataas because people are also kind of budgeting their expenses nowadays. So that's why when we came up with mga paellas na local, doon gumalaw ng gusto.
Yeah.
Because Spanish paellas are more expensive.
Like, what would you say was not local that you used to do? How non-local was that? Like, you'd have or salsichon or roastings?
No, naman. But you use sofritos, higher cost.
Okay.
Then you use a lot of seafood, higher cost. You know what I mean? Meat is cheaper at the end of the day compared to seafood. Then squid ink, like for the black paellas. Then the chorizos, which are all imported. I use local sometimes, but the consistency is the problem with the local chorizo. Not like if you buy from the States, the El Rey and everything. They're basically it's the same quality all throughout. So medyo mas mahal. So with the local paellas, all you do is barbecue, then the inasal, which are all very local.
Although we use sofrito for the base of the
but you
paella.
don't use saffron.
No,
we use
don't
achuete.
Oh, very good, very good.
That's why.
Marlene, have you heard of the agua fava?
No.
I think that's going to be something exciting. I learned about it and I'm going to try it. You will use the water from a canned garbanzos and you whip it like whipped cream and it whips like whipped cream.
Oh wow. Some Asian people that I follow on YouTube, they use bean. They use bean, like a red bean or something, to create a paste and pipe flowers with.
Yeah.
So I guess the garbanzo would be the same thing.
Aqua fava would be water with
water
fava beans. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's any bean that you can get, like cannelloni beans or something else.
Yeah. Could be something new that you can introduce.
Yeah.
Anyway,
she had one cake that was quite famous recently. Was the hummingbird.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's also trending here now. And here the cakes, they're all going back to the old-fashioned way. So
Well, she also had crema de fruta, which was quite famous.
So Manny, what's your favorite cake done by your loved one?
Oo, yun.
All.
Good
And
answer.
yeah,
Hindi. Okay. Hindi ako masyadong
The queso.
Yeah, the queso flan, but basically, I'm not a cake person.
Yeah, he likes pies.
I like pies more.
Apple pies.
Give me a buko pie, apple pie, blueberry pie, yun, kakainin ko. Pero yung cakes, hindi ako masyadong fan.
Okay.
Yung pies naman, she doesn't really do it.
Because it's a hot kitchen.
Okay. But another question.
Commissioning in this kitchen here, so it's kind of hard to make.
Palalagay pa kami, kaso hindi pwede pumasok yung technician.
Yeah.
So.
All right, bucket list. The Marlene Manny bucket list. Go.
Well, we'd like to travel, as we said.
Where? Where?
We've seen a lot of places. Well, Croatia I haven't been to, and she's been to Croatia. I love the old feel, the old European feel.
I want to bring him to Spain, where he hasn't been, and then he take me to the towns in Spain that I haven't been.
That's nice.
I haven't been to Sevilla. I want to go to Sevilla. She's been to the south, the mga Marbella, mga ganon. I haven't been there. Basically,
I haven't been to the north.
Ako naman sa north, Bilbao. I've been to Bilbao, San Sebastian, lahat yun. So, we probably will go for a trip to Spain. We'd like to do that.
Okay, what else?
What else? Well, yun na nga, maybe open a cafe later on. Would be interesting. Because I have a lot of good ideas about, even desserts. I give it to her always. That will pair well with coffee. Because, a lot of these desserts, nobody really does. And then I'd love to have a local, the most underrated dessert or even, dessert in the country is the kakanins. I'd love to probably develop a kakanin line that would be very, very good. In Negros has a lot of kakanin.
Yeah, why not a coffee flavored kakanin? Since we do coffee.
We're doing right now. We're into the puto thing, the manapla puto. Have you had that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or
there's
the one with chocolate.
There's this supplier that supplies it now with the perfect manapla puto. We've been giving it away, selling it, and people would say, "Oh, wala bang dinuguan na kasama to?" But it's perfect with dinuguan. So I think underrated masyado yung kakanin ng Pilipinas. Somebody should really develop that. If we're saying sinigang, sisig, are the Filipino flavors that we have to bring abroad, I think we should bring our kakanins abroad.
Yeah. Okay. What about continuity of your art? Who's going to take over when you are 100 years old?
If Erin is listening,
Erin, listen.
Erin, yeah.
Her husband loves to cook. Anthony.
Wow.
And bake. Anthony bakes also. Naman that they're from the Concepcion clan, and he loves to bake because that's their family tradition. So I think probably when I was saying before, Erin, all my knives, I have a collection of knives, which I love collecting knives. Sabi ko, who can I leave these knives kaya? My friends na lang kaya, baka si Robbie, bigay ko sa kanya. Sabi niya, Dad, Anthony's there. Sabi ko, basta ituloy. So I hope Anthony can learn from me later on.
So that means your bases are already covered. You can already, travel all you want when you've already established your business, your bucket list, and go forward, diba?
I don't know with Marlene. I mean, who will she leave her baking heritage to?
No one.
Wala. But
no,
anyway,
there would be somebody. Someone will come into siguro your life.
Probably. Hopefully.
Okay.
Maybe my niece.
Yeah. So Marlene, what's your favorite kind of coffee that Manny would have?
Oh nga.
She has a whole list.
I like the Arabicas, the single origins, like he just said. Before we got together, when I lived in the States, I would take roasting classes. I would take coffee classes just because I really like how the coffee goes around your palate and all that. So when we got together, I was only in the level where I like the nutty and chocolatey finish. So now he's introducing me to the fruity and the
More acidic coffee.
Kasi it has to be, you have to learn it. You have to introduce your palate to that
And you have
those
to
flavors.
recognize. That's why you take cupping classes or tasting classes, because you have to recognize those flavors. Sometimes you don't. if you're an amateur in coffee, sometimes the flavors are there, but can't discover it because
Or
you don't know what it is. You can't explain it.
You can, yeah.
So you have to have a guide or a person to teach you. So I'm teaching her how to taste proper coffee.
So grateful for that. Yeah.
So she doesn't like Ethiopian.
I'm not there yet. I don't say that I don't like it, but I'm not there yet.
I had her taste recently Kenyan coffee, and she likes Kenyan coffee. More of the African. I'm more of African origins and South America. Guatemala, not too much Brazil, because Brazil for me is a little bit of a neutral coffee. But I love African coffees, Rwanda, Burundi, Kenya. Those coffees are very nice. And from the Asian origins, I love Indonesian coffee.
Okay.
Philippine, anong favorite nyo?
Philippines would be Benguet. I grew up with the Benguet farms. So I love Benguet coffee because it's a varietal that I like. It's typica. A lot of the other coffees nowadays are a lot of hybrids. But the heirloom varieties are still in Benguet.
What water is good to use talaga?
You have to use water which is not too clean. You have to have a TDS meter, total dissolved solids. So for me, TDS of about 200 to 300.
Speak English, please. Speak English.
Sorry?
Speak English.
English.
So water, that's medyo mineral, may kakapitan yung flavors, not distilled, definitely not. So it has to be, total dissolved solids of about 200 to 300. So kasi kailangan may flavor, kakapitan yung coffee. If it's too clean, you won't taste the nuances.
Uh-huh.
So even your tap water, actually here in the house, we can use tap water. It's okay.
Okay.
As long as it's not chlorinated, chlorinated. So probably you can take away the chlorine by a simple filter. Pero basta wala lang chlorine na medyo fresh from the tap is okay.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Wala, ganon.
You have to take classes. You have to take classes on coffee.
So okay, we have paella, we have cake, we have coffee. How about dancing?
Oh.
Marunong ba magsayaw yung katabi mo, Marlene?
That's another irony of life. My mother was the first ballet teacher in Negros, in Bacolod. Elsie Torrejon. Elsie Uytiepo Torrejon she taught ballet, and some of her students are still alive.
Wow. Yeah, pero did you ever do the tango with your, that handsome guy beside you?
No. I have two left feet like my dad. Walang gusto yung sayaw sa akin. That's ironic. But she dances well, and
I know, yeah. You should have shown us some photos of your Aldeguer days.
Meron, no, and even the competition days.
May competition days in the States. I should have, but
meron ba?
Competition.
Do we have photos, Anton?
Wala siyang photos. Ano na daw, promise daw niya, iti-TikTok daw niya lahat ng mga sinayaw niya dati.
Okay.
Habang nagluluto, nagbe-bake ng cake. Ayun.
Habang nagluluto.
But when I came back, I joined the dance team in Bacolod. We do a fundraiser show in December, and I have a lovely dance group there that I dance with, and I also have my Zumba group that I used to teach Zumba, and now we have Zoom classes. Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, Marvic Flores said perfect match. Prima, Marlene, and Manny.
My cousin from Maryland.
Forever na. Yay. And of course, Tina said, what a dynamic duo. And yeah, I think sarap nga niya kung gumawa kayo ng bakery in Silay. Grabe. I'm sure grabe yung grabe
Abon.
yung opinion. Oo.
Abangan
Yeah.
natin.
But
Well,
enjoy the
anyway,
best years of growing old together.
Thank you.
Don't, you know, just
Life is short.
yeah. Well, not really that. No, I didn't mean that, but enjoy it. Like travel.
yeah,
Ano,
sayang nga eh.
old. Huh?
Sayang nga, parang this pandemic has stolen years from us. We should have been traveling also, but then again, that's how life is.
Yep.
Nangyari.
Serendipity.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
Yes, that's the word, serendipity.
it's probably good for us because we live together and kasi kung hindi nasa Bacolod yan nandito ako should come here I'll go there once in a while.
So it got us closer.
Yeah. God put your paths at the right time, the right
So,
place.
Oo, galing.
Yeah,
Galing
talaga. Kasi I wouldn't have known how to survive single in this pandemic siguro. Masira ulo ko.
Okay.
I
Okay,
mean,
Anton.
we're a good. We keep good company together. So
That's good. That's good. That's nice. Okay.
Oo. Wow, congratulations. And thank you, Manny, for pushing Marlene to do her cakes and
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people are happy.
She doesn't have to be pushed sometimes on her own, grabe. Sometimes she'd work for the whole day, hindi kami magkikita dito sa bahay kasi nasa kitchen sa the whole time.
And sabi ko nga kay Rach, like for example, simple Sans Rival cake, diba? Most of the Sans Rival cake are not decorated. And so if you celebrate a birthday, parang hindi siya pang birthday cake, alam mo 'yun? And then you have Marlene's na merong flower
Design.
presentation, no? Tsaka sarap nung Sans Rival niya. For those people who like the nutty, no? The nutty meringue base.
Yeah, the classic.
Classic, diba? Yun.
Very classic.
So, yeah, congratulations. Any final question, Nancy, before we ask their final message?
No, it's not a question, but I really wish you have to inspire people who need second chances in love. Widowers, widows, or those who have been separated, or for any whatever reason. Sometimes they
Yeah.
feel that there's no more hope, and you just decide to go it alone, depressed. Maybe you can encourage people now by you tell them now there's always probably a chance.
Yeah. And what's the official friend zone for how many years? Grabe.
40
Hindi nun.
40 years.
Oo, di ba?
Yeah, then we ended up with each other. So it's a nice story. It's a story that tama si Nancy can inspire other people who are ready towards retiring and to find somebody of their own to live the rest of their life with.
Yeah.
Well, it's perfect, but nothing's perfect by the way. But it's perfect as is it now because yun na nga, she's single. I mean, she no kids, and I have my kids.
Yeah, you were saying it's kanina you were saying na it's better for a widower or one basta one should not better not to have kids because
Di naman better, but it really helps.
um,
Kasi pwede naman may kids din, pero to take away the bit of complications. Kasi sometimes the kids don't like the partner, di ba? Or the kids are, need more attention or
and
whatever.
that's the other thing. Sila Aaron and Edward, they saw me growing up. They've always seen me, so I wasn't foreign to them.
Yeah, because you knew my wife also, my late
Yeah,
wife.
I also and
I knew
my
also,
boyfriend.
husband and boyfriend. So it's really a small world.
all right.
Parang sine, no?
Oo nga, parang sine talaga. And then,
It's actually a movie.
It's a movie, oo.
Sa
Movie about the bakery in Silay, di ba? Yan.
Parang yung movie na burnt or yung
Yeah.
Oo, di ba? Ang
Yeah.
romantic. Yeah.
Kaya nga, you should make a Marlene and Manny cake. Invent something like that. I think, it's full of love. I'm happy.
Oo.
I'm happy knowing stories like that.
Oo.
Thank
And
you.
then, And a lot of people need to hear it, 'di ba? Ang galing,
Yes.
galing. And you can do cake and coffee pairing din,
Yeah.
at some
Ah,
point,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Definitely,
Best.
definitely yan pwede. We should do it, Anton, soon. When this
Oo,
pandemic.
kasi ako, I like your cakes with coffee talaga. But, we use Nespresso lang eh. But maybe better yung partner talaga, alam mo yun? Yung pinartner nyo talaga yung notes
Tsaka
nung cake
talagang
with the notes of
yeah,
coffee.
you make it the drip method and chemex. Kasi iba
Oo,
ang
diba?
expression and taste ng coffee pag ginawa mo properly. Espresso is okay, but you will not be able to really look at the true flavors of the coffee sometimes.
I'll
Oo,
demo.
I know.
I'll demo when we can meet again.
Oo, yeah. We'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for sharing your story. So, any final message? I think just some final message for people to get inspired. To those people na friend zone, or even to those home-based businesses that are continuing to struggle during this
Well,
time. Any final message
I
from you guys?
guess I guess it's also destiny sometimes. I mean, di ba?
Yeah, because we were just thousands in the village who already did it. I guess it's the quality of your food that will speak for you at the end. It precedes your reputation.
No, but more on the relationship.
They want to.
Well, you can never, as Nancy said, don't stop. Always have hope that you can still find a partner in your life. Parang ganon. Don't lose hope. Never stop trying, as they say. Don't quit.
You can feel it naman if it's the one, guys.
Yes, you're right.
And
you found each other.
Okay, thanks. Anton, Nancy, thanks for inviting us.
Thank
It was a
you.
pleasure. It was a pleasure.
Stay in love.
Stay in love. So that we can taste the love in the food.
In the food.
In the food.
Kiss
As
naman.
Manolos would say, ang saying,
Pwede ba kiss naman?
tagline, comida.
Comida del corazon.
Wow.
Wow!
Isa nga kissing naman, kissing scene. Sine naman to di ba?
Oh, yun.
Wow, yes, that's a nice ending.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
God bless you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, God bless you. And guys, for those people watching, please like and share this video to your family and friends who are, friend zone or into the cake and coffee business. Really inspiring story. Thank you so much, Manny and Marlene. And,
Anton, yung replay.
Nancy,
Anton, they have to know the replay.
Nancy,
Yes,
matulog ka na, Nancy. Wala ka pang tulog.
wala ka pa tulog.
Mamaya.
Yeah, please check out in the YouTube channel, Our Awesome Planet.
Yeah.
The replay will be there. Please continue to share it to your family and friends who will be inspired by their story. All right, maraming salamat. Live an awesome life, Kat.
Yeah,
Live an awesome life.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
God
Nice
bless.
to meet you, Nancy.
God bless.
Bye.
Can you do a short